go today. I know you guys are like, she wears the same thing every day. No, this is my sweater I wear to work. And so it's cold. I put it on. It's cold. I do have different clothes on underneath here. So this morning it is up. I drove a little bit. It is a whole 50 degrees. That's what my car says. A whole 50 degrees. So my name is Lydia O'Boyd. I am a lactation specialist. I'm based here in Los Angeles, and I provide prenatal education, prenatal breastfeeding education, and breastfeeding support to expectant and breastfeeding families, to families who are returning back to work or school, and those who are ending their breastfeeding relationship, whether they are weaning or in the event of a loss. And so I do support groups and classes. I do one-on-one support, as well as I am a public speaker, trainer, and teacher. All right. So you can find me all over social media at Lydia O'Boyd CLE. You can email me, lydia@lydiaoboyd.com, and you can find my website at bit.ly/Lydia's resources. Okay. So what am I talking about today? I'm going to go over about getting breastfeeding support from WIC. Okay. So I know a lot of people are not tied to WIC. But WIC kind of is the standard, the now standard for breastfeeding support. When you talk about, when you pull up, if you do a basic Google search of breastfeeding support, if you look at any list, it's going to have a WIC agency on it. Okay. WIC is not welfare. Okay, so please don't combine it. Those who do qualify for welfare qualify for WIC. However, some people who qualify for WIC do not qualify for quote-unquote welfare. And when I say welfare, I'm talking about cash aid, Medi-Cal, food stamps, Section 8, housing, okay? That kind of stuff. So WIC has a higher income level. And so one of the things is that there's a small segment of the population who, and I shouldn't say small, this is when we think of low income, we automatically think of welfare. However, WIC covers a higher income bracket that a lot of people don't seem to understand. And I will say this, for those of you who go on the website, regardless of where you are, you go on the website, your local WIC agency, and you do punch in your numbers, and it tells you that you don't qualify. Still take the time out and to go into your local WIC office, okay? They do something different, and I think there's something going on with the website that it automatically disqualifies a lot of people. However, I have a lot of friends who've gone on the website and was told that they don't qualify, and then went into the office and they qualified. Okay, so that's what I want you guys to do. So that's the first thing. Okay. Second of all, breastfeeding support. Here in California, and I really can't speak for other states, but here in California, and it's a shame that it's not ran consistently across the board, nationwide. And one of the reasons it's not is because there's different income levels, and there's different things that each state has to deal with. They have other programs, they have other things that's available to them. Okay, so here in California, and it's probably similar, not too far-fetched. Okay, so that's where I'm basing this off of. All right, definitely check with your WIC agency, your local WIC agency. So in order for you to get prenatal support, and I'm really referencing WIC, and not all WIC agencies, not all WIC sites have a breastfeeding. It's called a breastfeeding peer counselor program. Okay, and remember I went over this. the breastfeeding peer counselor, their training is about 25 hours, and they have to take a test. They need to pass a test 75% or better in order to get that certification. And that support is pretty much prenatal support, prenatal and postpartum support, and it really is peer-to-peer support where you're being encouraged, you're giving educated advice from somebody who has breastfed. All right, and there is a set schedule of when the contacts are made in order to provide that educational piece. So they're overseen usually by a lactation consultant or a breastfeeding coordinator. That coordinator needs to have at least a CLE, a certified lactation educator. However, in optimal cases, there will be a lactation consultant either in that position or on site that is solely providing technical oversight to the peer counselor program, and providing higher level lactation support and advisement to WIC families. All right, so all of this for free. This is part of the program, right? So you would be enrolled when you enroll into the program pregnant, right? So if you are coming on, say you found out you're pregnant and you want to enroll in the program. Some people, they want to do it because they want the milk, eggs, and cheese. And, Granny done told you, girl, go down there and get you some WIC. Which is smart. Everybody eats some milk, eggs, and cheese, and fruits and vegetables, and Cheerios, and all that kind of good stuff, right? So you have that. But you want some breastfeeding support, right? Maybe that you can't afford to go to, one of those the shishi poo poo breastfeeding classes. You can't afford maybe a $500 breastfeeding parenting childbirth class, but they have the WIC and they have support groups and things like that. Okay, in addition, you get the milk, eggs, cheese, Cheerios, some bread, some peanut butter, and some beans, right? So you sign up, right? You'll meet with, and this is if they have a separate breastfeeding counselor. Sometimes what they have are the WIC nutrition assistants and their /PCs. So then their time is segmented where maybe 20% of their 100% time is dedicated to breastfeeding support, and then the other 80% is designated for WIC support, right? In the cases where it's just 100% breastfeeding support, then that person is going to be there, and that's what they're going to do solely. Their whole focus is just to support families for breastfeeding. That person will contact you prenatally, giving you information. You do a lot of talking about how do you feel about breastfeeding, what are your questions. They'll answer your questions. They'll talk you through some things. They also will facilitate the support groups at that site, all right, which will be made available to you. Now, for those of you who are working, right, and if you work a regular 9 to 5, right, the support groups, depending on how that agency is set up, may not be available for you, and that's something to consider. So while you are working during your pregnancy, you may not get to go to support groups, because support groups probably will be anywhere from 10 to 4 o'clock during the day, and you're at work from 9 to 5. So you still want to take advantage of the prenatal education, and depending on where you are, some WIC agencies are a little bit more progressive, where they're offering text messages, so you get text messages that you can refer back to. You get to text your counselor. They may have a Facebook page or a group where you get to go in and interact. So then, there's a balancing act with that too. Once you go on maternity leave, then I'm going to strongly advise you to participate in their breastfeeding support groups, all right? That, because as you always hear, I'm always talking about go to your support groups, attend your support groups. You need more than virtual support. And then here you go, you have your breastfeeding support group, right? So, and be active. I know some of you are probably shy. You're like, oh, well, I don't need to talk to some people, and just go, okay? Go and participate, because you never know what kind of connections you'll make and what you may learn. So go, that way you get to see your counselor, you get to meet your counselor, and then you get to hear from other families how your counselor has supported them, all right? Go and make those connections, right? So then this way, once you have your baby, you are connected to this person, and there's a trust that you have, so then you feel comfortable when you have your baby to call that person about any concerns or questions that you have about breastfeeding. Now, after you have your baby, your counselor is going to contact you, okay? The closer you get to your delivery, the counselor is going to call you more frequently, and then right after you have the baby, the counselor is going to contact you very frequently. Again, for those progressive agencies, some of that contact will be text messages. So a text message will be like, hey, Mary, just calling, just checking on you, wanting to make sure how the breastfeeding go last night. You text her back and say, breastfeeding was kind of hard, the baby wouldn't sleep, or I felt like I didn't have enough milk, and then you go back and forth, right? How easy is that? How wonderful is that? And remember, it's free. I mean, it's coming out of your tax dollars, but you're not writing a check, you're not swiping your card, you're not PayPaling, you're not Cash Apping anybody. You going in there, and then you go in there and you pick up your checks, right? Yep. Okay. So they'll contact you more frequently. As the older the baby gets, the less frequently they'll contact you, but it'll be at least once a month, right? So anywhere from 1 to 3 days to once a month. Okay, depending on how long you want to stay on the program, is depending on how long you breastfeed. Ideally, the program is set up for you to stay on for 6 months. Okay, even if you're still breastfeeding after that. Most breastfeeding counselors are very nice, and they're very tied to their moms, so you will be able to contact that person. So if that program cuts moms off at 6 months, you'll be able to go in and chit chat with the counselor and say, whenever you go in for your appointment, it's like, hey, how you doing? You can still contact them or whatnot. For other agencies, they allow the counselors to keep the moms for a full year. So if you're breastfeeding for the full year, then you get to stay with your counselor for the year, and then once you get to the year, then the counselor will take you off of their caseload, and which again, you have that connection. You can always stop by when you're in the office. Hey, how you doing? You can still come to the support groups, that kind of stuff. They won't stop you from coming to the support groups. Excuse me, that was so disrespectful. I don't know where that came from. So you can still participate, right? Now, a lot of WIC agencies, and these are the fun things, a lot of WIC agencies, when they for the breastfeeding support groups, they will do special things during special times of the year. So like for Black History Month, they may do something special for Black History Month. You may get some breastfeeding tidbits, fun facts and things like that. In August is World Breastfeeding Awareness Month, so they may have a breastfeeding celebration during that time. Some WIC agencies do recognize and celebrate Black Breastfeeding Week, which is at the end of the month, starting August 25th to the end of the month. You may sign up with the agency that celebrates and recognizes that week, and then there's another gathering for that. And all of these are really, really fun, and you're invited to participate. All right. Now, what about for the mom who's struggling with breastfeeding? Okay, what your counselor is going to do is the counselor is going to be that person that's going to support you through this time. So they will help you with any issues that you're having. They will, if they have those resources available to you, they will make the appropriate referrals out to other resources. Again, within the agency, if there's a lactation consultant available, then they may refer you to the LC. All right. If that person is an LC themselves, then they may be able to help you within the current scope of their job description. Always remember that you may have somebody who's extremely knowledgeable, but they do have a job description, and their job description may not be written to provide your entire care as far as lactation. Okay. In most cases, they will not work outside of anything that your physician says. So whether it's your physician or your baby's physician. Okay. In regards to pumps, a lot of people think, oh, you go to WIC to get a pump. Depending on your agency and what kind of inventory they have, that may be true. You might be able to go to them to get a pump. Not necessarily always the case. All right. In some cases, some agencies don't have the inventory. Some cases they do have the inventory. Some cases they have not only electric pumps but manual pumps, and they will determine which one you qualify for and why. Some agencies, and again, unfortunately, it's not consistent across the country, much less within the state, within each state through each agency. Every agency has the right to determine how they issue pumps and things like that. So some agencies, whether you are combo feeding or not, you can still get a pump. Other agencies, they will not issue formula as well as an electric pump. And in those cases, what they do most likely is that they will always give you a manual pump. In some cases, that's not true. If you are formula feeding, they will not offer you any type of pump. Okay. So you got to find out and see what's available to you. What I don't suggest is if you know somebody, so if it's Aunt Bessie, cousin Susie, your sister, your bestie, if those people do not work for that agency, do not take their word as gold. Okay? Because they are not there. They don't know. Now, you may have somebody that goes to the WIC agency, to the WIC on Main in 52nd, right? But your WIC agency is on Central and 182nd, right? They could be within the same agency, but they can be in two separate agencies. Now, the WIC, the site on Main, they may give you electric pump, manual pump, and some formula. The WIC site on Central, they may say you can get either or. You can get an electric pump or you can get formula, right? Just because Susie go over here on Main, don't let Susie tell you something about Central, because she don't know. And just because that's what they do over there on Main doesn't mean that's what they do over there on Central. Again, I don't control how this works, okay? Good morning. And like I said, nationwide, it's not consistent. Statewide, it's not consistent. So you're gonna have to fall in line with what they do at their agency. You can definitely make a suggestion, and if you want what Susie is getting over here on Main, then you probably need to go over there on Main. Okay, but just coming into the one on Central and saying what they do on Main is not going to change anything. Okay, so it's not necessarily the case. Now, if you go on your state WIC's website and they say something, you can always refer them to the state website and say, well, this is what it says. But also remember that each state allows each agency to regulate themselves at a certain level. Okay, so there are policies and things like that. All right, so that kind of stuff. All right, now, and again, different states, different agencies they all don't get the same stuff. So they may have different incentives. A lot of incentives are given for the moms who are exclusively breastfeeding. That means for the moms who are not giving formula. All right. So you may get things like breast pads, nursing bras, maybe a little gift set for if you're going back to work that has maybe some storage bags and some more breast pads and maybe a little thermos. Just different things that they get. Always remember that in most cases, either these things are bought out of that specific agency's funds, which they have to, those funds, they also have to pay staff, insurance, building, things like that, right? So everybody is not going to have the same thing. But check and see what kind of incentives do you have. If they don't have incentives, don't get too freaked out. You get stuff other places, okay? And I get, you're like, well, the one on Maine, they got a bra, some cloth nursing, some reusable nursing pads, and a full-on thermos. But the one on Central, she just gave me some disposable breast pads. That's all they had. Okay? That's all they had to give you, right? So you can check, right? But remember, your main goal is to go in there and get the breastfeeding support, right? So what type of support? They're going to help you with latch. They're going to help answer your questions about your milk supply. They'll help you with explaining the developmental milestones regarding eating and breastfeeding. They're going to help you understand your milk production. They're going to prepare you to go back to work or school. They will help you put together a pumping schedule. They will help you set up your pump, regardless of where you get the pump. If you get it from WIC, or if you get it through your insurance, or if somebody buys you one or you buy one yourself, they will help you with that. Okay? In most cases, some agencies say you can't bring in an outside pump, and they won't help you with that. And a lot of agencies, they will. They'll say, just bring the pump in and we'll show you how to use it. Okay? Once the baby is there, they will help you with latch and things like that. They will also provide you with some guidance on weaning, transitioning the baby from the breast to a bottle when you go back to work, different things like that. Okay, pretty much everything that I've talked about on here, they can help you with that. Okay, all right, so that's what it looks like for breastfeeding support through WIC. And that was a very high level overview. There's way more, and if somebody else was to say, well, you didn't say this, you didn't say this, you didn't say this, very high level overview. Okay, all right, let me know if you have any questions. All right, let me know. You can definitely comment below and share what it looks like in your WIC agency. And again, some agencies may not have all the stuff that I talked about, and some agencies may have more. Your site, and every site within each WIC agency is not the same, okay? Because it's ran by different people. So one breastfeeding counselor over here may do something completely different. So let's just say, so there's a WIC agency on Central. But there's from that same agency, there's a different site on South Street. Well, Molly works on South Street. Brenda works on Central, right? Molly is white, Brenda is black. They may have the Black Breastfeeding Week with Brenda. Molly's just going to do World Breastfeeding Awareness Week, right? So, yeah, so they may have different things. So just understand that, you know, everything is not going to be consistent, all right? But the basics, being able to help you with those basic technical aspects should be given, all right? All right. So, and the thing with WIC, also always remember that these are people. They are employees. They get to take vacations. They get time off. So if you say, oh, well, I went in and there was nobody there to help me, because the person, they weren't there, they get sick time, they get vacation time, they get all that. Good morning. So consider, you know, all of that. All right. So if you have any questions, definitely let me know. You can email me, lydia@lydiaoboy.com. You can find my website at bit.ly/Lydia's Resources. You can definitely find me all over social media at Lydia Oboy CLE. All right. Talk to you guys later.